A humble and genuine family man, Peter Mahoney accomplished a lot in his 62 years. Not only did he love to fly, he was a scout and venturers leader and an Australian rally champion, with plans to build his dream home and travel with his wife. But yesterday he was tragically killed when he crashed into a cliff while paragliding at King Edward Park. His son Benjamin says in his 3 years paragliding, his father had accrued many hours, such was his passion for the sport, and that he died doing what he loved, saying the sport has its risks, so does horse riding or being in a car. He loved having his feet off the ground. Peter was a member of the Newcastle Paragliding Club, the tight-knit community still coming to terms with the loss.
Personally speaking from the club, Peter's a very, very nice guy and very liked. It's a tragic circumstance, and as far as a flying community, we all grieve when we lose one of the brothers.
Local officers and the Police Aviation Support Branch are investigating the crash. They're examining a range of factors which could have caused the accident.
We will consider the weather, we will consider the pilot experience, we'll also think about his medical conditions and also the apparatus that he was using on the day.
Peter is survived by his wife, 2 children and 4 grandchildren. Renee Feder, NBN News.
A section of Hunter Street at a standstill. This morning's traffic facing a new hurdle as the second phase of light rail construction begins.
Very busy. We've been sitting in this for 20 minutes.
Pretty annoying. We're just trying to get to uni. Traffic's not ideal.
No, it doesn't matter. It's all good for Newcastle. What's going to happen?
From today, the entire block of Scott Street between Crown and Perkins was closed to motorists, with traffic diverted onto King Street. However, pedestrian access remained the same.
This is just us moving forward with the plan that we've published and talked about widely.
It follows the Derby to Auckland Street works, which are expected to be complete by the end of the year.
You can't get around. I can hardly get to my flat, let alone other people who might want to come and do business here.
While the works are proving a headache for some commuters and residents, many surrounding businesses remain optimistic.
Some hassles, but the things like that will finish up soon. We're looking at the construction workers and going, there's our new customers.
It's one of those things I think it'll be good when it's all done. There will be a bit of pain, obviously, in the construction.
The director of the Revitalising Newcastle program says he'll continue to monitor traffic conditions and, where possible, make improvements to ease congestion.
Just trying to get the word out. Hunter Street's still open. We're still open.
Talia Sarv, NBN News.
The stage is set for Wickham Park to buzz with 2 days of summer music festivities.
We're looking at around about 12,000 on Saturday, which is that, and then Sunday we're looking at sort of that 6,000 plus mark for live at the foreshore.
The markets, art areas and VIP lounge all ready to go ahead of the weekend. The 3 music arenas also taking shape, so too security measures. Police sending a blunt message.
If you come and you do cause trouble, we will take action.
Of the 12,000 revellers that walked through the gates at This That last year, 46 were caught with illicit drugs, while 100 were treated by paramedics.
We're hoping that there won't be that many detections this year, but we are well equipped and well planned and prepared for if we do.
We, want to create an environment everyone can enjoy and everyone can enjoy safely. So we certainly support all the measures that are in place, and we actually drive a lot of them.
For those who behave at Live at the Foreshore on Sunday and This That tomorrow, there's one attraction that will be hard to miss. If the party atmosphere isn't enough, thrill seekers will be able to climb aboard the Slingshot, where they'll get the best views of the festival 80 metres above ground. Well, for a few seconds anyway.
It is certainly something that I don't go on, but a lot of people enjoy that for the Saturday and the Sunday.
Alex Heinke, NBN News.
This morning, most road users are obeying the road rules. At this stage, I'm pleased to report we haven't arrested anyone for drink driving. However, as we progress through into the weekend, that's likely to change.
His skills almost as slick as his hairstyle. Joey Champness will hope to show off both when he makes his starting debut for the Jets.
Hopefully he can take this opportunity, his starting opportunity, and hopefully we can see him on the score sheet.
Despite the start coming courtesy of a reshuffle, the captain says it was only a matter of time.
He's done well. He's been good all pre-season. He's an exciting young player. He'll get at defenders and cause them some trouble.
He won't be the only change tomorrow. Jason Hoffman coming in at fullback for the injured Daniel Georgievski.
That's the beauty of the squad at the moment, having the quality of Hoff to be able to just step straight in and do a job.
That job will be beating the Wellington Phoenix. They're still searching for a win, but last week against Brisbane, they showed what they're capable of.
If you have any lapse in concentration, they can punish you because there's some quality there. It's about making sure the first 5-10 minutes we're in their face 100 mile an hour and we start on the right foot.
Alex Heinke, NBN News. Back at Barooby Beach in all of its glory, but early all eyes were on Merryweather's Philippa Anderson, who began with a few bumps, but it didn't take her long to find her groove.
Your first heat and the semi-finals were the most nervous, so that was a little bit more stressful being the first heat and knowing this is the last opportunity I have.
It was close and it was tense, but Anderson claimed the win. A solid start to the most important event of her season. A berth on the World Tour is within reach with a big result.
Before the heat I was fine, I just tried to really just relax and I had a lot of crew up there, like friends and that, so that was really cool to just feel relaxed. Really happy to just get that first one out the way. I feel so much better now already.
From then on, the surf was pumping. Offshore winds held all day and the stars thrived. Number 1 seed and world number 7 Sage Eriksson progressed at the expense of Corlette wildcard 15-year-old Elle Clayton Brown.
I just got here this morning, so I'm a little out of breath, but so happy to get through. At this point, I don't need the points for qualifying, and this is really just giving me more practice and experience, and I think that fun mentality helped me out there to do well.
It was also a good day for world number 9 Joanne Defay. The Surfest champion was a class above in her heat, while Avoca teenager Macy Callahan advanced to keep her World Tour hopes alive. But there were upsets. Keely Andrew and Paulina Du were the first current tour surfers eliminated.
Hundreds taking the step towards a cure for cancer. The Purple Army walking, jogging and running for loved ones. This year, around 1,100 took on the 12-hour challenge. That's almost double on last year.
Everyone knows it touches just about everybody in some way. So from young to old, we've got people here just relaying all for the same cause. So we're united to try and defeat this disease.
Every person has a unique story, including the days.
Over the last 12 months, our family's been hit pretty hard when it comes to cancer. We have lost a couple of friends with the disease, but unfortunately my brother has been diagnosed with 5 types of cancer.
Josh's 32-year-old brother Mitch has an advanced form of the disease. It's in his liver, lungs, bowel, blood and bones. Today, Mitch's family set an ambitious goal to rack up 300 kilometres in one day. That's around 160 laps per person. His brother's strength inspiring Josh to push on.
There's a lot of people doing a lot harder, even if we're doing a 12-hour boot camp or a 24-hour boot camp. No matter how hard that is, there's a lot of people out there doing it much harder and much tougher than that.
The family's goal is to raise around $50,000 for the Cancer Council and for Mitch's treatment costs. A 12-hour boot camp will also be held at the end of the month. Samantha Long, NBN News. Beers behind bars. At a side of entertainment, and the scene was set for Bitter and Twisted. Within the confines of the Old Maitland Jail was almost 3,000 people. While only some of them took the jail theme seriously, all were thirsty for one thing. And there was plenty of choice on offer, with 19 craft beer brewers at this year's festival.
Yeah, so this is the most we've had, and it just continues to grow year on year. So lots of local guys, but also guys from right around the country as well who are on tap today. And we've even got some yeasty boys from New Zealand.
Newcastle company Foghorn Brewhouse has been part of the event since it started 11 years ago. Co-founder Sean Sherlock has witnessed the rise in popularity of craft beer.
We're not just another big factory, pumping out mass-produced stuff. We're small, it's hands-on, and the quality's better.
And many festival goers agreed.
Awesome, unreal. Some good brewers, a few local ones. River Port, they're unreal.
Yeah, just different beers that you don't get the opportunity to taste. Yeah, it's good fun.
Oh, the beer's unreal. Every brewer's got their own little unique thing, which is perfect.
The festival continues tomorrow. Renee Feder, NBN News.
They all love the dance tent and what goes on in there. So, obviously Alice in Wonderland and the presets. Zed's Dead from Canada.
You never know when you're going to use the first aid training. So that we have lots of mines rescue comps. We try to make this one a bit more realistic to what you would do in your everyday life.
We're hoping again for a big turnout this year, and running for a good 80 days. We're looking at over 120,000 people. So fingers crossed.
That's amazing to me. There's only 2 players who have done that. That's surreal to me. There's nothing else I can really say about it. It's an honor to be up there.
It was deja vu for Philippa Anderson, pulled out of the water yesterday after a shark sighting. Unbelievably, it happened again when the heat was replayed this morning. She did eventually advance, setting up another must-win clash. The equation was simple: win and she'd improve her World Qualifying Series ranking, lose and the dream was over. Up against Frenchwoman Teresa Bonvalot, it was always going to be close, the pair going blow for blow early, but it was Anderson who had the upper hand. She solidified her lead with a decent backup score before Bonvalot struck. The best chance of the heat and certainly the highest scoring. 4 big turns, a 7.8, putting her into the lead. 3 minutes left, Anderson had one last roll of the dice, chasing a 7.1. The wave fell flat in the first section, but it did grow down the line. A pair of sharp snaps that had the crowd on side. But not the judges, falling agonisingly short. Elsewhere, and with Sage Eriksson sent packing, Joanne Defay will be the top seed on finals day. She was again ruthless, posting the highest heat total of the day. She'll be tough to beat tomorrow.
Yeah, really happy, super good condition. I had a lot of fun. A good result, so hoping to go better, but I'm already happy for that.
Two days, 2 major music festivals, 1 location. Such events can be a recipe for unrest and arrests, but not here.
Well behaved. We had nearly 10,000 people at the event, which normally brings a little bit of trouble with itself.
Yesterday's This That festival at Wickham saw just over 20 people arrested, mainly for drug possession.
Certainly on par with past years, a little bit better than last year, so hopefully there's some incremental improvement there.
Today, 5,000 people rocked on at the same location for Live at the Foreshore. While police will be vigilant as it wraps up tonight, they're confident the older crowd will ensure the weekend remains incident-free. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
A hero's welcome for an extraordinary group of people. The end of this year's Charlie's Run for Kids was emotional for many, in particular Rob Taylor. His son Logan, the focus of the fundraising effort, lost his battle with cancer 6 weeks ago.
I honoured my boy. I just ran because he was with me. Yeah, that's the only reason why I done it, because he was with me.
No, he had his little boy in mind, and he just kept going and going and going. I mean, it made of all of us. Like at the end of every day, just looking at him, how he kept going, I don't know.
He wasn't alone. Running the last leg, 9-year-old Diesel, in honour of his sister Caprice, who passed away earlier this year. While Melissa Carr was surrounded by loved ones as she ran in the event, named after her daughter Charlie for the first time.
I can't believe I did it. Incredible, just amazing. And coming down that hill was just awesome. And then Titanium, we played Titanium at Charlie's funeral because the last month before she died, she used to practice singing it all the time. And it's just such a song of strength for us.
Through gritty determination, runners conquered 150 kilometres over 5 days, from Seal Rocks to Dudley. More than 90,000 has been raised, but it's the outpouring of support that's also touched the Taylor family.
Very overwhelming, and I'll never be able to say thank you.
If you'd like to still donate, just head to our website for more details. Meredith Gibbs, NBN News.
The unmistakable sound of a suburban icon. But these postie bikes are revving their way across the state.
Trusty steeds, 110 cc's of pulsating power.
How do they go?
They go well.
And they'll have to, given the marathon journey that lies ahead.
Mud. Mud and white lines, but hopefully more mud than white lines.
Yeah, good. Yeah, excited. It's a bit wet out there, but we should be right. Yeah.
The Postie Bike Dash will see riders clock up some serious Ks while raising some serious dollars for variety.
Raising money for underprivileged and handicapped children of the Hunter region in New South Wales.
The aim is to reach $130,000 for much needed items from learning aids at school to wheelchairs. Over the next 6 days, the riders will travel 2,500 kilometres from Newcastle up to North Haven, then to Armidale, Inverell, Gunnedah and Scone, before returning to Newcastle next Friday.
They're great machines. Yep, the red steeds just stay upright if possible.
They don't stop. They just keep going. They're remarkable. As you can see, we're in our peak physical appearance at the moment, but they carry us very easily.
At Cessnock, another two-wheeled fundraiser got off to a frantic start. The Postie Bike Grand Prix turned the city's streets into a racetrack. The annual event generates money for local charities while having plenty of fun along the way. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
If there were any concerns the Jets would crumble with marquee signing Ronald Vargas injured on the sideline, last night blew them away.
I thought it was really our best performance. I know we scored 5 goals against the Mariners away from home, but I thought our all-round play defensively and moving forward and getting into the box was first class.
Newcastle was impressive, producing free-flowing football, which early on just lacked that final finish. A bit of luck helped change that. O'Donovan's second saw him equal the A-League record for most goals in the opening 5 games of a season. Joey Champness impressed in his first start, and Costa Petrados made his club debut, while Andrew Naboot turned from supplier to scorer, bagging his first of the season ahead of a tough run of fixtures.
We've had a couple of games at home, and now we're set ourselves up to play our best football away from home.
It was a winning night all round for the club, with the women's side beating Sydney FC 2-0. That's back-to-back wins to start the W League campaign. Ominous conditions for finals day at Berube, fitting given what was at stake for Callaghan. Standing in her way, a rampant Tatiana Weston-Webb, who raced out to an early, commanding lead. Callaghan needed a finals berth to cement a championship tour place, but with her dream fading, she began to claw back, first posting a mid-range score after falling on this final turn. Then, in the dying moments, this wave. The World Junior Champ needing a 7, a run of steep snaps putting her in a position to achieve it, but it came in at an agonising 6.9. She could still make the tour. That depends on who re-qualifies at the final event in Hawaii later this month. Weston-Webb's win set up a showdown with Joanne Defay, the two formed surfers of the comp. They set a high standard from the start, Weston-Webb opening up a slight advantage, showing off her clinical style. But Defay was always in the hunt, judged just short of the lead on one wave and blocked with priority on another. But with that priority back in her favour, there was no denying the third, a single turn doing the damage. A 9-point ride, adding another title to her name, her second of the year after winning Surfest.
I'm really happy. I haven't won a QS event before on all my career, so winning 2 this year, it's been very good. Like starting like this and finishing like that. I couldn't think of a better way.
Aussie pair Liam O'Brien and Jacob Wilcox produced an entertaining final for the smaller 1,000-point men's event, both making the tricky conditions look easy. It was O'Brien who took the title.
It came with little warning, a spring storm more like a cyclone. Torrential rain and howling winds, lightning and thunder, nature's fury unleashed on the Hunter town of Kurri Kurri.
It was terrifying. I was trying to cover one of these old ladies sitting at the bus stop and these 2 little girls. It was just terrifying.
Tearing through the town, it left little untouched. Power lines were brought down, trees uprooted, backyards torn apart and roofs ripped off, while 2 women working in the community centre found themselves in the firing line.
A wall's come in and injured both of them, partially trapped one. 2 police officers went in and extricated her and brought her out.
Around town, it was virtually impossible to miss the carnage. But amid all the devastation, one thing's for certain, things could have been so much worse.
And then we saw a big flash of lightning come from that way and it's hit the roof. And when we came out and realised it actually has hit the roof in the middle there and came out the other side.
Meredith Gibbs, NBN News.
She was a trusted school employee, but 50-year-old Jackie Hayes stands accused of abusing that responsibility.
Would you like to say anything at all?
Afraid not.
The 50-year-old today appeared before Raymond Terrace Local Court, accused of grooming a 15-year-old student while employed at a Port Stephens school.
Do you deny the allegations?
Detectives from Strikeforce Minamora launched their investigation back in June after receiving reports of the alleged behaviour back in 2015. In September, Hayes was charged with 5 offences: grooming a child for unlawful sexual activity, along with 2 counts of using a carriage service to groom a person under 16 and 2 counts of using a carriage service to menace or harass. Police allege Hayes sent a number of explicit text messages and made several phone calls to the teenage boy, and also sent texts and calls to another student.
The woman remains on conditional bail and is prohibited from either contacting or approaching the alleged victim. She'll return here to Raymond Terrace Local Court in January next year. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
leaving their cars at McDonald Jones Stadium and their traffic frustrations behind. Commuters got on board as Newcastle's park and ride service hit the road for the first time.
Oh, it's fantastic not having to deal with trying to find a park on White Street.
It's getting ridiculous trying to find a park, and then once you do find a park, you've got to walk for days just to get to your office building. So this will drop me right out in front of it.
We took 100 cars off the streets of the CBD, and it was 100 people who didn't have to pay for parking.
Weaving its way through the CBD, the service has 4 stops: Market Town, Civic Park, the Mall and Customs House. And at the moment, there's still plenty of room to move.
What we've seen on day one was that the 6:30am service wasn't particularly popular. It was more around the 7 o'clock where people really started to build and really started to use the bus.
It's going to save me about $2,000 a year, which is really, really nice on my budget. And I would definitely suggest it.
As with many firsts, it's trial and error for all involved.
Probably should have caught the 7:45 bus just because I need to be into work by 8:30, so it'll be a little tight today.
We'll look at the data over the first couple of weeks and make a decision as to whether we need to push the park and ride service so that it starts a little later in the day or a little later in the morning, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
The service is free for the first 3 months. After that, it will cost $2 a day. Meredith Gibbs, NBN News.
12 months in the making, just like that, the 2017 prawn season officially began. And what a start, the first lot of prawns selling for a princely $6,000.
$6,000 is a good outcome, I think, for the first auction like this of its type in the fishing industry for 25 years.
Especially for the Westpac Rescue Helicopter Service set to benefit from the charity auction.
Well, we have ongoing operational costs. We've got a major period of maintenance on at the moment, so we need to keep the tin full.
The successful bidder, Sydney Fish Market, even donated the prawns back to the co-op to raise even more money.
I believe those prawns now will be going on sale in the retail shop at the co-op, and the additional funds will be added to the donation.
And the local fishing industry continues to surge back in the wake of the fallout from the Williamtown contamination.
The prawns, the river, the good thing about this is the river has been thoroughly tested, everything's been thoroughly tested and everything has come up fine.
Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
Russell admits it might sound crazy to be ecstatic with 2 21st place finishes, but he's relieved after getting through a supercar round unscathed. A slight bump did get his heart rate up, but right now all roads lead to Newcastle, where the championship will be decided. Jamie Whincup holds a slender lead, but knows that'll mean little on the untested street circuit.
Who knows, we could use more fuel, could be hard on tyres. You don't know. There's all those variables that you've all got to predict before you get there and on the fly. So, yeah, it's going to be on.
From 4 wheels to 2, and Merryweather's Max Crocker has claimed the Australian FX Superbike Championship.
Oh, yeah, it's just awesome. We've had a few troubles over the weekend and it's just great to be on the top step of the championship.
He started from the back of the grid in the final race, but took less than a lap to move through the field. Crocker eventually slipped back to second. That was enough to seal the title. Good signs for the Commonwealth Games hopes of Newcastle's Aaron Royal. He finished second in yesterday's Noosa Triathlon, 12 seconds behind winner Jacob Birthwhistle, who's already gained selection on the team. It leaves Royal in a strong position. He should know his fate within a week. Newcastle is into the final of the New South Wales Country Cricket titles after an unbeaten run in the Northern Pool at Inverell. The side will face the Southern winner in Bowral in 2 weeks. And the Black Diamond AFL competition could double in size. The league is considering adding 5 new teams, including Maitland, Singleton and Lake Macquarie. A decision will be made at the end of the month. For Hunter sports fans, the Australian Open at Manly has always been largely out of sight, out of mind. But Sydney's Premier Comp has a big bearing on who comes to Surfest. There were reports the Open wouldn't return, but NBN News can confirm it will. However, it's unclear just how big it'll be.
I can't really comment on anything officially at this point in time, but stay tuned.
An announcement will be made this week, and that's good news for Surfest. It gives the international contingent extra incentive to head down under. Surfest organiser Warren Smith was confident of attracting championship tour stars regardless, given the timing of the event before their season opener at Snapper Rocks.
They've been out of the water without a Guernsey on for a while now, so we'll see them come back and have a really good solid hit out at us.
Surfest officials met with their World Surf League counterparts over the weekend. Both the men's and women's events will return with 6,000-point rankings. That's as big as female comps can get. Men ones can go larger, but that's not something Surfest is aiming for.
It's a big jump, it's a big ask, but we're happy with both, the Burton Automotive Pro and the Grandstand Physio Women's Pro being QS 6000. That's the best we can do.
Meanwhile, the Port Stephens Pro will return, with Destination New South Wales and the local council committing to a second year. Conditions weren't great for spectators, but they were for surfers.
Surfers I've talked to from all over the world, from Hawaii, Barbados, South America, they've said that the waves have been great and some of the best they've had for a QS this year. I'm sure that we're going to see a lot more events in this part of the world for sure.
Paul, structural engineers have spent most of the afternoon assessing damaged buildings, including the one behind me, the community centre and a library. It's going to be a long clean-up. Several roads are still closed. Ausgrid still needs to make sure that the area is safe while debris needs to be cleared. One thing is for certain, the emergency response is going to go well into tonight and tomorrow. Back to you. Paul, it was hit the hardest here in Lang Street. As you can see behind me, the ambulance practice hall, it's had its roof completely stripped off. Just the bare bones of its structure is being shown. There's insulation, there is metal sheeting strewn across the roads, across surrounding and neighbouring buildings. The preschool is just across the road. They were extremely lucky that no one was injured there. In their front yard, there is actually some debris there. Now, the winds are starting to pick up and there is some concern that it will pick up the debris that is strewn around and that it could cause some more damage. So it will definitely be a long night ahead for emergency services. Back to you.
Reporter Meredith Gibbs joins us live now from Kurri Kurri. And Meredith, an emergency operation is underway there tonight.
Paul, structural engineers have spent most of the afternoon assessing damaged buildings, including the one behind me, the community centre and a library. It's going to be a long clean-up. Several roads are still closed. Ausgrid still needs to make sure that the area is safe while debris needs to be cleared. One thing is for certain, the emergency response is going to go well into tonight and tomorrow. Back to you.
Thank you, Meredith Gibbs, reporting there.
And Meredith joins us again now from Kurri Kurri. Meredith, you're at one of the worst hit parts of the town. Just how much damage has been done?
Paul, it was hit the hardest here in Lang Street. As you can see behind me, the ambulance practice hall, it's had its roof completely stripped off. Just the bare bones of its structure is being shown. There's insulation, there is metal sheeting strewn across the roads, across surrounding and neighbouring buildings. The preschool is just across the road. They were extremely lucky that no one was injured there. In their front yard, there is actually some debris there. Now, the winds are starting to pick up and there is some concern that it will pick up the debris that is strewn around and that it could cause some more damage. So it will definitely be a long night ahead for emergency services. back to you.
Thanks, Meredith. Meredith Gibbs reporting there.
Battered but not beaten, Kurri Kurri is a town counting the cost. The Kurri Kurri Hotel, one of the main casualties, taking a direct hit from a lightning strike.
It looked like an earthquake or a bomb had exploded. We realised we were in a bit of trouble.
Jim Sullivan had just bought the hotel. Insurance wasn't settled.
A lot of people from the local community have pitched in and helped, and feeling good about that. But yeah, we'll survive this.
There are no shirkers in Kurri. You know, it's fantastic. People just get out and help each other.
Well, the great thing about this disaster is how well the community has worked together, and that's synonymous with the people of our area.
Last night, just hours after the cyclonic winds tore through the close-knit community, the clean-up got underway. With the SES facing more than 200 jobs, reinforcements were called in.
We've got it pretty much in hand at this stage. So with the assistance of out-of-area crews, we've got teams up from Sydney. We've had a lot of help from within the Hunter.
There was a close call at Kurri Public School. Today it was closed, but it's expected to reopen tomorrow, while the community centre, library and ambulance hall are off limits until further notice. One thing is certain, this could have been a lot worse. This hall is used for after-school care. If the storm had hit just half an hour later, it would have been packed with children, and the outcome could have been devastating.
I think we can really be grateful that we didn't lose a child or a person.
Residents are also cleaning up on the Central Coast, another place where the wild weather hit hard. Strong winds even picking up a catamaran and hurling it into a house. While a family near Wauchope had a lucky escape as a storm tore the roof off their home, the trio were inside the Redbank property at the time and took shelter in the bathroom. Meredith Gibbs, NBN News.
Newcastle's foreshore turned Great Gatsby. If you were lucky enough to escape the office, you were even luckier to land a spot here. The so-called Honey Cage hosting the Hunters Elite and a few other familiar faces.
I love coming up to Newcastle. What a wonderful event this is, and looking forward to the afternoon.
A glamorous setting calling for show-stopping attire.
I just love the green and the lace, and I thought it was quite Gatsby. Something obviously a little bit fun and frilly for a sunny day. We've just got to go all out. Yes, that's right.
The men also got in on the action.
I think the theme is something along the lines of this.
Across Newcastle this year was all about bold colours and florals, the trend transforming this pub into a garden party.
And beautiful flowers, beautiful clothes, beautiful fascinators, everyone's having a great time.
From flowers to food and a few drinks in between. And when it comes to betting, it doesn't stop at the horses, Yabby's drawing a big plunge or two.
And while it's not the race and stops the nation, the Hillbilly Cup can pull a crowd.
A very loud and passionate one in this case. Talia Sarv, NBN News.
Benjamin Batterham was excused from appearing before Newcastle local court today. He was represented instead by his barrister, Winston Terracini, who successfully argued for the matter to proceed to a committal hearing. Mr Terracini described the police case against his client as an extraordinarily weak case in regards to murder, and that Batterham should not be committed to stand trial for murder. He's accused of killing Ricky Slater-Dixon in March last year after finding him inside his Newcastle home, chasing him down and placing his arm over his throat. The court heard Mr Slater-Dixon had 0.7 milligrams of methamphetamine in his system, and that the case will hinge on whether the Crown can prove Batterham caused his death or that the drug or other circumstances may have contributed. The court was shown interviews with two witnesses, neighbour Daniel O'Keefe saying he saw the accused on top of Mr Slater-Dixon, whose head was hard pressed against the ground and was complaining he was struggling to breathe. He was limp, he was just quiet, there was no resistance, just like something had happened. I put my hand on his mouth and couldn't feel any breathing. Off-duty police officer Peter Mann, who's regarded as a key witness, told detectives how Mr Dixon's face was flat, his head was almost being screwed off, and that he told the accused to get off him or he would die, before describing how I looked at his eyes, opened them up, and at that stage they were just fixed, and I thought this is not good. Magistrate Cheetham granted the application, meaning 4 witnesses will soon be cross-examined. The matter will return to court next week.
From vision to reality, Hunter Sports High is in the middle of a dramatic transformation.
It's been amazing, the journey from design to actually now seeing the construction come to place.
With work ahead of schedule, State Education Minister Rob Stokes was in Gateshead today praising those involved.
What we're seeing is a school that was originally built in the 1950s as part of the baby boom is being transformed for the next generation of students.
More than a dozen classrooms have been demolished since the start of the year. Students remain on site during construction, and this new state-of-the-art sporting complex currently doubles as a temporary learning space.
The old style classrooms where it was very much teacher-led direct instruction, we are now able to create new opportunities to change that and to move more into indirect personalised learning, project-based learning.
The Minister says the upgrade is one of more than 120 school projects being funded over the next 4 years.
What we're seeing is a very different type of school being developed in response to the very different type of jobs that we're preparing young people for.
Work on Newcastle East Public is set to begin early next year. The project includes 4 new classrooms and a covered outdoor area. It will go to tender in the coming months. Talia Sav, NBN News.
Back to work after Saturday night's win, the Jets are on a high. The coach was rapt with today's effort too.
It was first class, there's no doubt the boys are flying at the moment.
In fact, Merrick says the standard is on par with some of the better teams he's coached over his championship-winning career, but he knows the next month will be a true indication of the side's progress.
The next 5 games will be a real test of their mental strength, more than their technique.
On Saturday, the unbeaten Jets face Adelaide away from home. A week later, it's a blockbuster against the ladder-leading Sydney FC. Then, a 5-day turnaround before hosting the Victory. And after that, the currently second-placed Melbourne City.
Every game is very important, and playing the so-called big teams who are often up near the finals when it counts, they're the ones that we'll learn the most from, so the more we can play against them, the better.
It's likely to be an unchanged starting 11 in the City of Churches. With Glenn Moss on New Zealand international duty, Ivan Nasevski comes onto the bench, while Daniel Georgievski's recovery is ahead of schedule, but he's still 2 weeks away.
You don't take a risk with hamstrings, but he's certainly progressing extremely well.
Merrick also declared today the club won't bring in an injury replacement for Ronald Vargas. The only position where he would add depth is on the wing, but he flatly denied reports that player could be Nathan Burns.
This club have got no intention of signing Nathan Burns either in January or at the end of the year, so I don't know where that nonsense came from.
He endured a baptism of fire in 2017 and emerged as one of Newcastle's brightest prospects. Now Lamb faces another challenge, with the Knights declaring their interest in Mitchell Pearce if he leaves Bondi.
It's going to help me, mate. They're top of the NRL in them halves, them blokes. So, no matter who comes to the club, Brownie's got an idea and they're going to be good players that are going to help us players.
The 20-year-old knows how important experience is. Trent Hodkinson has been crucial to his development and is now also a close friend.
Hocko's been unbelievable ever since I came to the club. He's pushed me in areas that I didn't know I could be pushed in, and off the field he's helped me a lot. So I'm always grateful for what he's done for me, and he continues to do.
Nathan Browner said Lamb and new signing Connor Watson will get the first chance in the halves. The former Rooster arrives at training on Thursday, but the pair already have a connection.
I've known him for a while now, I guess, from him being the Central Coast with Cogs and them sort of blokes. He's electric, mate. He's going to do a lot of running, so it gives me the chance to steer the team round if I get that opportunity, and that's what I'm going to have to do, take it with both hands and just control the game.
It's hard work, but Lamb's loving being back at training. He even did extra in the off-season after avoiding surgery on his injured knee.
I did a fair bit, just sort of, I guess, peace of mind knowing that I could still run. But yeah, I'm probably maybe 90%. It just still feels a little bit funny, but I'm still out there doing all the sessions and getting through it. It's just mind over matter sort of thing.
We have an existing water pipeline that crosses the Swansea Bridge that services all the areas south of the bridge. If that pipe were to fail, given the location of the pipe, it may be difficult to repair.